in these kuntreisim, it's not in the beginning. It's towards the middle, the Beis Habechira section, Hilchos Beis Habechira section. These pamphlets start with Yecheskel, and then it goes on to Midos, and then it goes on to Beis Habechira. So it's the third section, Hilchos Beis Habechira. You can find it in these pamphlets, Perek Rishon, page Lamed Ches in the Beis Habechira section.
Why are all the good diagrams in the other section?
Perek Rishon, Halacha, yeah, I don't know. Because Masechet Midas also talks about it. Halacha Ches, Yeshebaynin HaHeichol v'Hazara, and they would build the Heichol and the Hazara, as we spoke about yesterday. The Heichol is the Kodesh HaKadashim, and the Ulam together is called the Heichol. The Hazara is the walls further out. So when we build these walls, the walls of the Heichol, the walls of the Hazara, Baynin Ba'avanim G'daylis, they would build with big stones. V'im Loi Matzu Avanim, if they couldn't find stones, Baynin B'Levein, and then it would be permissible to use bricks. It's not permissible to cut these stones anywhere within the Harabayis. Meaning not only in the Azara, but anywhere within the Harabayis, it is forbidden to cut the stones. Ella rather, mefatzlin oisan, they are to be cut, umisatzin oisan, and to be made smoothened out, mibachutz, outside of the Harabayis. And only after they prepare it outside, machnis oisan labini, they would bring it in once it's already cut and already smooth. Shenamar, it says in the pasuk, Avanim gedolos, Avanim yikaros, liyasad avayis, avnei gazis. In this pasuk, it's clear that the stones could be cut, because avnei gazis means stones that are cut with metal. On the other hand, there's another pasuk that says, so there shouldn't be any keli made out of barzel being used in the Beis HaMikdash when you're building it. So on the one hand, it says you're allowed to use avnei gazis, stones that are cut with metal. On the other hand, it says there shouldn't be any kli barzel in the bayis b'hibanoisai. Seems like a contradiction. So the answer is, yeah, in the bayis, in the harabayis, you're not allowed to use them. But you're allowed to have avnei gazis as long as they were cut from the outside and then brought in.
Even with metal?
Yeah. Even with metal, we'll soon see that the stones for the Mizbeach, you're not allowed. But we're talking right now the stones for the walls of the Heichol and for the wall of the Hazara, that is permissible. Halacha Tes, the Ein Boinin Boy, 8 boilet klal. You're not allowed to have any exposed wood. If you use wood, it has to be covered, it can't be exposed. The only thing that could be exposed is stone, brick, plaster. There shouldn't be any like bleachers, I guess, of made out of wood in the entire Azara. Only out of stone or out of bricks. In the Azara, you're not allowed to have these, but we know that in Ezras Nashim, it was permissible, as we know by Simchas Beis HaShe'eva, they would have these like bleachers all around for the woman. So that's in the Ezras Nashim. But we're talking right now in Ezras Yisrael, in the Azara, it's forbidden.
What about when the king spoke?
It's also known in Ezras.
In the Ezras Nashim? In the Mishkan you had
wood. Halacha Yud. Now that Ram talks about the floor, umeratzpin is kol ha'azara ba'avanim yikaris. Yikaris means precious or heavy stones that they would use for the flooring in the azara. Im nekra evan, if a stone is uprooted, if it becomes disconnected, afa pisha hi'medas b'mkoyba, even if it remains in its place, oil v'niskalkala b'sulu, because it's disconnected, it's puzzle. And the Asr L'Koyin Ha'ovid L'Amoid Aleh, it's forbidden for a koyin that does the Avodah to stand on a stone that's disconnected B'Shas Avodah Ad Shetikala Ba'aretz, until they reconnect it to the ground. And if the koyin does the Avodah while he's standing on the stone, the Avodah is going to be possible.
I'm sorry, when you say connected, how do you connect it to the ground? You connect it to the stones around it. With cement, but how do you connect it to the ground?
Or from underneath, you can connect it to the ground from underneath. Also.
But it's mamish ground underneath. It's a mamish dirt. It's
There's no
soil.
way. There's no way to.
Loose.
Huh? Ask the mumchim.
I think when you say how to repair it, you get some first thing how to repair it. You repair it on the sides.
Halacha Yud Aleph. The measurements are pretty precise, and they have to be exactly the way the Eibishter says, the width, the length. But when it comes to the heights, it's flexible. And if I care, it's a hider mitzvah to make it as high as possible, based on the wealth and the ability of the Yidden at the time. So mitzvah min hamuvchar lechazek es habinyin ulehagbiyoi, to strengthen the building, to make it stronger and to make it higher, kafi kayach hatzibur, as much as the tzibur is able to. Shenamar uleroimim as beis alekein, to lift, make it high. Also, when it comes to the material, if you're able to cover it with golds, adrabah, based on the wealth of the Yidden at the time, we make it beautiful, if they have the ability to plate all the walls with gold, so and to make it very big, it's forbidden to build the Beis Hamikdash by night. Shenamar, it says clearly in the Pasuk.
How can we learn from Beis Habechira? We're learning, we're building the Beis Habechira.
Right, the learning is supposed to be that through learning, it's like you're doing the mitzvah. You're not allowed to do the. So sometimes learning has an advantage over building that. Yeah,
They also
that also.
But they also learned the night before. When they built it, they're reviewing the
Halachas. Shenamar, as it says in the pasuk, will be yoim hakim es hamishkan. It must be done during the daytime. By yoim mekimin loy balayla. And the daytime starts from Aleis HaShachar until Tzeis HaKecham. So the oiskim b'binyin ne Aleis HaShachar ad Tzeis HaKecham. The HaKoil Chayam, everyone is obligated to assist. Livnois u'lisayed be'atzmon u'b'mamoinam themselves, be'gufam, those that are capable, and b'mamoinam, financially. Anashim v'nashim, men and women, are mechuyev. K'mikdash HaMidbar, just like the Mishkan in the Midbar.
Literally build he's talking about, or just to help?
To assist everyone, whichever one.
Financially.
Yeah, financially, or the preparations. Not everyone can actually do the building, but there's the preparations. There's the aim of Atlin Tinoikesh of Israel. When it comes to young children that are learning Torah, we're not nevatel Tinoikesh. See how the importance of the Torah of Tinoikesh of Israel, and not Kedekach, that we're not going to be mevatel even when it comes to building the Beis Hamikdash. Right? What could be greater than that? But ein mevatlin tinoikesh of Israel, so apparently the limud atera of tinoikesh of Israel is greater, even than binyan Beis Hamikdash.
Very simple reason.
Yeah.
Usually, teaching children is chinuch. In this case, it's not chinuch because it's a one-time thing. It won't be a second time. They won't have binyan Beis Hamikdash after their bar mitzvah if it's built now.
Okay. The ein binyan Beis Hamikdash doiche yamtiv. Building the Beis Hamikdash is not Deiche Yom Tov. Doesn't mean that it is Deiche Shabbos. Kol Shekain that it's not Deiche Shabbos. It means even Yom Tov. Yom Tov, you only Chayav Malkus if you're over on doing a Malach on Yom Tov, right? Shabbos, person does a Malach on Shabbos is a Chiyuv Isa. Doing a Malach on Shabbos is worse than doing a Malacha on Yom Tov. So the Chiddush here is even when it comes to Yom Tov, Ein Binyan Beis Hamikdash Doiche Yom Tov. Binyan Beis Hamikdash is an asay. Yom Tov, there's an asay and a lois asay. There's an asay of Tishbais, and there's a lois asay of Leisasa Kol Malacha. And so too Shabbos, there's an asay and a lois asay. Tishbais and Leisasa Kol Malacha. So the asay of Binyan Beis Hamikdash is not Doiche Yom Tov or Shabbos. Now it's interesting that women are also obligated in this mitzvah, even though the mitzvah is only during the daytime. Kommt that's a mitzvah say Shazman Grama. And from the Esvagin it says that women are also mechuyev in this mitzvah. So one of the explanations brought is the building is done during the day, but the chiv is really that there should always be a Beis Hamikdash. Similar to Milah, which is a one-time act, but the mitzvah is that there should always be a Milah, there should always be mal. The mitzvah is a constant mitzvah. It's a mitzvah tzmidis to be mal, even though the act of doing the bris is a one-time act. So similarly, when it comes to the building, the act of building the Beis Hamikdash might be a one-time act, but it's actually a mitzvah tmidi that should always be the Beis Hamikdash. and therefore it's not considered a mitzvah seisha zman garama. One of the explanations that I brought. Halacha Yud Gimel. Hamizbeach ein oisen oisoi ela binyin avanim. The mizbeach has to be built with stones, and this that it says in the Torah, it sounds like the mizbeach is made of earth, not of stone. So that's not pshat in the pasuk. Mizbeach adama.
What's Avanim Gazis? What's Gazis?
It's not supposed to say gazes.
Say gazes should be
It's not
crossed out.
supposed to say. Punkt verkehrt. It's not supposed to be avnei gazes, as we'll soon see. Sheyiyah mechuber ba'adam. When the Torah says that it should be a mizbeach adama, means that the mizbeach should be mechuber to the adama, to the earth. So number one, it means there should be no space between the earth and the mizbeach. But more than that, it means that even beneath the mizbeach in the earth, there shouldn't be any cavities. There shouldn't be any me'ara, any caves, or anything, any hollow spaces beneath it should be full of earth. As much as we know, we can't always know exactly everything down there, but as much as we know, it should be full beneath it.
How far
That's what it means, a mizbach adama, as far as we know, I guess. Shelo yivnu lo yal gabe chipin v'lo yal gabe mechilis. Not on top of
Arches,
right, and not on top of ma'aris. Mechilis are caves,
tunnels,
tunnels.
What's keeping? Covers.
arches.
V'zeh shenamar v'im mizbach avanim. Now the Torah says v'im mizbach avanim ta'asali. If it's going to be a mizbech of stone, sounds like it could be. That's one of the options, but there are other options as well. It doesn't have to be stone. But mepi hashmuel lamdu she'einei reshus ala chayva. That even though it says v'im, it means sometimes in the Torah when it says v'im, it means chayva, not reshus. This is one of the places where even though it says v'im,
It's one of the three places.
it means that it's chayva, it's not reshus. It's a chayva, must be dafke of stone. Halacha Yudalit. The stones that are used have to be glatt, have to be completely smooth. Just like the chalif that a sheichet uses has to be smooth. Kadesha tachker ba'atzipoiren, right? The way he measures it by his nail across it, seeing if there's any indentations. So the same thing, the stones that are used have to also be completely glatt. Kol even shenifgima kedei shetachker ba'atzipoiren. There's a little pagam, even the shear just kedei shetachker ba'atzipoiren, so little, so minute. Kisaken shal shchita is a psula. La kavesh v'la mizbeach. And at the end of the halacha, we're going to see that it's also possible for the heichel and for the azar. Possible. Right now, we're talking about for the ramp and for the mizbeach, but also for the walls of the heichel and the azara. It must be complete. It must be glatt. Shenamar avanim shleimos tivna es mizbach Hashem. Shleimos here meaning that it's glatt, smooth. Where would they get the stones for the mizbeach from? Now, as we're going to see in a second, the stones for the mizbeach, you're not allowed to use any metal to cut it or to smoothen it out. They would use the shamir to smoothen out the stones for the mizbeach. They wouldn't be able to use any metal.
So what did they do in the second?
What did they do in the second Beis Hamikdash?
There's no
Huh?
shame in the second.
They looked hard till they found.
So if you're not allowed to use any metal, not only that, you're not allowed to even use a stone that metal touched it. Even if metal touched that stone, that's enough to disqualify that stone. So where would they find stone? They have to look deep into the ground to find stones that people didn't reach. Any stone that's people could have cut with metal to take off a part of that stone and left out the other part, but it was touched with metal. How do you ensure that it wasn't touched by metal? You have to get to stones that we could assume that humans didn't get to that stone. So they have to dig deep down to get to stones that are deep that people didn't get to, or deep into the sea. They would take out of the sea also. Those are the two options. So to find stones that were not touched by metal, they would dig at deep to an area that was not a place where people built over there or did work over there. They would take the stones out of there, they would build from those stones. Now the Ram continues, those also had to be complete. Those were different. Those had to be complete, but you were able to use metal to cut those stones. As long as you don't cut in the harabais, as long as you cut it outside the harabais. So that's the difference. Both of them have to be complete. The stones of the mizbech and the stones of the heichal nazar, the walls have to be complete, meaning Kadesh Tachkabat Sefer has to be smooth. Both of them, all the stones have to be smooth. The difference is just if you're allowed to cut it with metal outside the Harabayas or not. The stones for the walls of the Heichal Nazara are allowed to be cut with metal outside the Harabayas, but the stones for the ramp and the Mizbeach are not allowed to be cut or even touched by metal.
Are you understanding that that means that the stones have to, they can't be like curved? They have to be mamish,
No, I don't think there's a problem if it's curved, but just there can't be any pagam.
yeah.
We'll see later how they would take a bunch of stones. How did they build the Mizbeach? They would take a whole bunch of these smooth stones, and they would put it into a frame, and then they would fill up with this plaster, seed, and gefes. We'll see later on. That's how they. So the stones themselves, they didn't really matter if they were, curved or not, because it was anyways going to be filled in with cement. Let's do one more halacha. Halacha tesvav. Avnei heichal va'azaros, stones for the walls of the heichal and the azara shenifkimu, oy shenigmemu, shenifkimu that receives a pgam, oy shenigmemu, or that it was cut with barzel, even if there's no. That's two different things. Nifkimu means that it has a pgam, it receives a pgam. Nigmemu means that you cut it with metal, even if you made a smooth cut and there's no pgam, but that's nigmemu, it was cut with metal. Psulin, it becomes pasul. Ve'ein lahen pidyon, and you can't redeem it because it's kodesh and it's kedushas aguf, and you can't redeem it. Ela nignazim, it has to be buried. So for sure, okay. So nifkemu and nigmemu. So nigmemu means it was cut with metal, but it was cut with metal in the harabayis. It was cut with metal once it was already in the wall. We're talking about amna eichel azares that was already erected in the wall, was part, and then after it was in the wall already, nifkemu or nigmemu. So nigmemu for sure is going to become pasul because it's already in the harabayis, and you used metal, so that makes it pasul. So that's clear. But the question is nifkemu. Why does that become pasul? L'chayra, you could take it now out of the harabayis and smoothen it and bring it back in.
Put it back.
Why is it pasul? And the answer is once it's brought in, you're not allowed to take it out anymore, even because of a gzeira that we're afraid that you're going to end up coming to do it in the harabayis. So once the stone is brought into harabayis, now you're not allowed to take it back out anymore to smoothen it. That's what the Griz says. Because of a gzeira that you might end up doing it in the harabayis. Oh, so that's why it becomes pasul now, and ignozim, and that's it. Now the Ram tells us clearly what we mentioned earlier regarding the stones for the mizbeach and for the ramp, that if metal even touches it, it becomes pasul. Kol even shenaga ba barzel afa pisha le'nivkma, even if there was no pgam, it just was touched by metal and it's smooth and wasn't even cut. Psula lebinyan hamizbeach or binyan hakevesh. That stone can't be used for building the mizbeach or the ramp. Shenamar ki charbecha heinafta aleh, even if it was just heinafta aleh, it wasn't even cut, just touched it. You waved it over it. But the chalala, it makes it pasul. If you use such a stone, which Basil touched it, and you build it into the Mizbech, and you chayim malchus, that's one of the shasa loisase, one of the 365 loisase. And this is one that you chayim, there's 207 of them that you chayim malchus, this is one of them. Shenamar loisivna esen gazis. And this was one of the mitzvahs that the Rambam quoted in the beginning of Hilchos Beis Habechira. Mitzvah number 2 was, shalei livnois ha-mizbeach gazis, not to build the Mizbeach with stones that were touched by metal.
Third base makers, there's going to be barzel. Yeah?
What this license they want to apply?
I don't know, I'm saying
No,
this
it's
is
the same.
is that right?
I think it's the same. I think it's going to apply the same license.
But there's going to be, you can have metal in the third base makers, right? But you're saying the stone situation.
Right.
Right.
The Haboina Evan Pagum, the Rama finishes off. If someone uses a Evan Pagum and he builds it into the, whether it's the Mizbeach or whether it is the Heichol V'Azaram, Oiver Ba'aseh, you're going to be Oiver and Aseh. And I think I mentioned this last year. It's interesting that there's an Aseh. What's the Aseh? The Aseh is Avanim Shleimois Tivnes Mizbach Hashem Lekecha. It's a mitzvah Aseh. And the Ram doesn't list it in the mitzvahs over here. It doesn't list it anywhere. There's another mitzvah. There's only Ramach mitzvah say. There's Ramat mitzvah say. There's another mitzvah say, which the Rambam even talks about here. If you take an Evan Pagum, right, and there's a mitzvah say that you must use Avanim Shleimus when you build the Mizbeach, and so too when you build the walls. There's a mitzvah say to use complete stones, and if you use a stone that's Pagum, you're over on this say. So why is this not listed as one of the mitzvahs say. So one of the explanations, I think you mentioned this last year, one of the explanations that I brought at the Neitz Kalim over here is that this is included in the general mitzvah say of Livnais Beis Hamikdash. It's like a detail within that mitzvah say. Livnais Beis Hamikdash means to build the Beis Hamikdash correctly. And part of the qualification is they should be built with Avanim Shleimus. So if I don't use an Avin Shleima, then I'm being over on the mitzvah say